Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about another data structure in Python, which is known as a dictionary. It's also called a hash map in other languages, so yeah. I already typed some of the topics we are going to talk about, which are dictionary keys and values, indexing, adding, and removing from lists. So before we get into these topics, I want to talk about dictionaries, what they are, their uses. So yeah. Dictionaries are denoted by these curly braces, as you see here. So dictionaries are collections, just like lists, except as you can see here, each item consists of a pair. The first part of the item is known as the key, the second is the value, and they're separated by this colon. So the uses of a dictionary are quite extensive. Unlike lists, you don't need to index them with their position. You just need to refer to their key, and you can always get the value. So it's first of all good for readability and also to keep track of data. So if you wanted to know how many apples you had or bananas or whatever fruit, you can always use a dictionary to keep track. Since it's a pair, you can have the first as a string and the second as an integer. So in this case, apple and banana are my keys, and 3 and 2 are the values, respectively. So yeah. And also, I should talk a little bit about naming keys and values. Keys and values can be of any data type. So you can have this be a float, and you can have this be a boolean, false. Oh, sorry about that. So you can have key be a float and the value be a false, or something else. Like you can have the key actually be a tuple, because tuples are immutable, they cannot be changed. We're going to talk about them a bit later. So yeah, you can have the key be a tuple if you want. You can have the value be what have we not done? You can have the value be a string. So yeah, anything is fine. This would work too. There's nothing wrong. So if we were to print D just as it is, we shouldn't get back an error. Yeah. So this works out fine. Just remember, you can't have a list as a key in a dictionary, because lists are mutable. They can be changed, and yeah. So yeah. In this case, let's just go back to the way it was. Apple and banana. I'm just doing this for simplicity. So yeah. Just remember that keys are the first item, and first part of the item, and values are the second part of the item. Yeah, so let's get into some things you can do with dictionaries. So the first thing you can do is indexing, just like a list. I think I talked a little bit about it before. Just like a list, you index a dictionary with these square brackets, except the only difference is you don't index them by their position, you index them by the key. So if you are looking to find a 3, you would index it as apple, and let's print this whole thing out. What we should get is D, index apple, and apple is 3, so we should get 3. And there you have it. We get a 3 back. So yeah, this is how to index a dictionary. You can also do some cool things with indexing, like adding to the value that is currently there. For example, if you wanted apple to be 4, let's remove this. What I'm going to do actually is after everything, put a print D, so I don't have to keep writing it. So yeah, what we have here is D apple, and since D apple is up here, what we're going to do is add 1 to it. This just means D apple equals dictionary apple plus 1. So what we're going to do is run this, and we should get apple 4, banana 2. We have just added 1 to this first value. So yeah. The only rule is that you cannot index a key that is non-existent. So if you were to type in D grape, we would get an error back because D is non-existent. That's the only downside of indexing. There's a way to get around this, and we are going to talk about that a bit later. So let me comment that out, and we will now move on to the next topic, which is adding to a list. So essentially, we do the same thing with adding. Actually, we just did an example of adding here, but that's adding to the value. Now we're going to talk a little bit about adding a new key value pair. So let's say since we didn't have grape, we want to add grape. What we would do is index this grape, except the only difference is that we use this equals operator, and we say whatever you want, D index grape is equal to 5. So what this will do is add a new key value pair, grape colon 5. So if we were to print that out, this is what we get: apple 3, banana 2, grape 5. So yeah, this is how you add to a list. And yeah, let's move on to removing from a list. So there are 2 ways of removing from a list. First, let's talk about the first one, which is with the pop method. So what we do is d.pop. Pop methods are also present in lists. So what we do is d.pop and whatever key value pair you want to erase. So suppose we want to erase apple, and it's already going to print D. We will get banana 2 because apple has just been erased. So just remember, pop means remove, and its parameters are just the key you want to remove. The key value pair, the key you want to remove from. So yeah. This is the first way of removing from a dictionary. Now let's talk about the second one, which is using the del keyword. I'm going to comment this out for now. So with this del keyword, what we can do is do the same thing with this. We just index it. Let's just remove banana this time. So what we should get is just apple 3. Let's run that. And we get apple 3 because this del keyword deletes the key banana and its value. So yeah, this is removing from a dictionary. So I think I hinted a little before that there is another way of accessing a non-existent value without an error, and that is with the get method. So I'm just going to put this under this indexing text. So what the get method does is it accesses whatever element of the list you want to access, and it returns none if it's not present. So let's just say d.getApple. We'll print that. Actually, wait, it already. Let's comment this out, and let's say we want to print d.getApple. And D is the dictionary. I'm going to keep calling it D because it's really simple. So yeah, the dictionary is apple 3, banana 2, and what we're doing is we are getting the value for apple. So let's try that. We should get 3 because apple relates to 3, obviously. So now let's try something a bit different. Since there is no grape here, what we want to do is access grape. So we tried that with the indexing method, the other one, but that just returned an error. So let's just see what happens if we run this. And what we get is none. So if the key is not present in the dictionary, we will get a none. You can also put a custom message of your choice, like non-existent. I think I spelled that wrong. So I'll just say that key is not in the dictionary. On the in the dictionary. There we go. So this second parameter of get, what it does is it returns this value if the grape or whatever key is not there. So let's try this out. Since grape is not there, we should get that key is not in the dictionary. I'm going to talk a little bit about how this second parameter is useful, and that we are going to talk about in this adding tab. So what this get method is also useful for is if you wanted to add a key value pair that is not there. And if it's there, it's going to add to it. If it's not, it's going to add a new one. So yeah, what we do is we say we index d grape. I'll use d grape again. Remember, I commented this all out, so grape in the dictionary is not there. So what we're going to do is we are going to index grape, and we're going to say access grape, and this should return a none, but we are going to do something a little extra, and that is we are going to return the integer 0 if it's not there, and we are going to put +1. So let me just go over what I have just wrote. So we are saying the dictionary, we are adding this new element grape, right? And we say this is equal to the dictionary, and we are accessing grape, and it'll return 0 if it's not there, +1. So let's just see what happens since grape is not there. It should, I have to uncomment this because I want to show what the end result looks like. And what we get is apple 3, banana 2, grape 1. So as you can see, it adds to, it creates a new value if it's not there. So you might be thinking, why do this if an easier way to do this is just say d grape is equal to 1. Like, this is much easier. But this is really beneficial because if you type in a key that is already in the dictionary, it won't return 0, right? It'll just add 1 to that, right? So if we do this, it should return apple 4, banana 2. And there we go. So this get method in this format just kills 2 birds with 1 stone. If the key is not there, it adds a new key in value. If it is there, it just adds to the value. So remember this, it will come in handy. So yeah, these are basically the main things you can do with a dictionary. When we talk about for loops and while loops later, I will talk about how to iterate through a dictionary. Also, some things you should know is that, let me comment this out too. There are ways to access just the keys of the list, and that is just I think it's keys. I'm not entirely sure. I think that is the way to do it. So we can say print d.keys. Let's delete this. So if we were to do print d.keys, I think it will print d.keys, since d is the dictionary, apple and banana. So yeah, it returns this. I think and if you wanted to return just the values, I think it is d.values. Oh, not that button. And it returns 3 and 2. And if you wanted to return everything, you just do d.items. But there really is no use for this since all you can do is just print d. So yeah, these are the main things you can do with dictionaries. And before we end this video, let me just go over everything we've done so it stays etched in your brain. So we have this dictionary D, and it's also referred to as a hash map. It's surrounded by these curly braces, and a dictionary is a relation of two two data types, a key and a value. The key is the first one, the value is the second one. I'm going a little fast here, but that's only because you already listened to this, so I'm trying to make sure you don't get bored. So yeah, keys is one, values is the second part. So when we're indexing, we just index like a list, except we don't index by the position. We just index by the key, and we can add one to that key. But remember, this indexing method only works if the key is already in the list. Already in the dictionary. If that doesn't work, we use this get method. And when we're adding to a list, we can use this get method, as I just explained. If it's not there, it adds a new key value. If the key is there, then it just adds one. With the get method, you can print out your own custom message with the second parameter. And removing from a dictionary, there are two ways to do it. Dictionary.pop, and what that does is it removes the key value, pair it with whatever key you type here. So there's also another way of removing, which is this delete keyword, del for short. We do del dictionary index banana, and that just deletes banana too. So yeah, that is all we have done today. I hope you guys learned something, and if you would consider liking and subscribing, that would be great. See you next time. Thanks for watching.